Welcome to Super Movie Brothers. Let's start the show.
This is a podcast on the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.
Welcome to Super Movie Brothers, episode 105. I'm your host, Super Movie Brother Dave.
I am your host, Super Movie Brother Jay.
And tonight we have a fun episode in store for you. Me and Jay we're a little constipated.
We are.
So we have a lot of news that we got to get out. So we're gonna do some news. Some of it might seem old to some of you, but we still want to share our reactions to the news with everybody.
Sure.
So we're gonna go through some of the news in this segment, and then in the next segment, me and Jay are gonna do a pretty brief review of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Because I'll be honest with you. It's not the Marvel movie that I really want to put the full pageantry into that I normally do for Marvel movies. I didn't want to do a special minisode.
Nah.
I didn't want to do special musical breaks.
It's not
for it and
quite
stuff like
worthy
that.
of that.
Yeah,
right?
I just didn't. You know what? I'm kind of getting tired of doing those. I'm really enjoying putting those into the main show.
You gotta
and
feel
stuff
inspired.
Like that. Yeah,
right?
and find a way to mix them into the main show now. And then we have our beer reviews with a drunk scene, and then finally, Jay, we are going to be joined by our first Patreon guest, the first person to go into our Patreon tier 4, 15% ABV, which is the Blue Turtle Shell of Doom tier. Mm-hmm. And they pledge enough to come on the show, choose a film, and make a cocktail. So we have a little mini movie cocktail for you at the end.
It's exciting. I wish I was a part of it, but I can't wait to listen.
This one was family only, buddy.
I know.
So, Jay, man, what have you been up to?
Well, besides suffering from like 7 blisters on my hand, I somehow my dad got the idea of, I have these roots that I want to get removed out of the grass. Grass isn't growing here. Come on, take an axe and a pick and try to get these things out. And I fucking was wailing with gloves on, and my God, my lower back, I was shot for the rest of the night.
What did you do? It was just like
I was just doing regular manual labor. These hands are not used to it.
Because that's like
I'm telling you right now, I had no idea they were that torn up, and I took the gloves off.
Your
I'm like,
city hands, Mr. Hooper.
I'll tell you. They're baby soft.
I don't need this working class hero crap.
But oh my God! And as you know, so from work in that where I work at, getting little nicks and little cuts and stuff on your hands takes forever to heal up, and it's just annoying as hell.
Because you wash your hands so frequently.
And your hands going in and out of pockets and stuff like that. So I'm dealing with that. So that's annoying. But
I just wonder, what did you do for your dad to be like, dig a hole, now fill it in, now dig another hole.
And I couldn't even really do it. It ended up being like way too big of roots that I couldn't even get underneath them and get them out. I just kind of lowered it. I'm like, okay, put some soil on top of it. Maybe grass will grow on top now, but it won't.
No, it won't. So what you're saying is you were given
I failed.
You were given a job to do, and you half-assed
it. I failed. It was another hot day, and I was slaving and suffering, and I just couldn't do it anymore.
All right.
So, but I did go on some. I was not thinking I was going to bring up dates anymore on the show, just because a lot of dates started listening to the show too much. And
I told you, stop telling girls you do a show.
I know, I need to stop doing that. But I will just quickly go and say that I had 2.5 really bad dates.
2.5? Well, see, now when if you told me they were good dates, I probably wouldn't want any more elaboration. But since you told me that they're bad dates, I want a little bit more elaboration. So, like, why bad? And obviously,
And I'm not even going to get into the details because the details are extreme. Like, this is Patreon-worthy stuff. So, just so you know, guys, if you really want to know all the details of these stories, it's definitely going to have to be a Patreon episode because it's going to be way too long.
Oh, there you go. We recorded our first Patreon beer review for the beer that I brewed myself, and that'll be on a Patreon episode. Why don't we tack on your 2.5 bad dates on there? I'm assuming one of them's a half because you got a handy or a blowjob, and that's why it's only half bad.
Well, not quite. No, let me just say the first one ended up being a stage 5 clinger issue. That came out of nowhere.
Okay.
And after one date.
All right.
1.5.
So,
and then the second one became like an on and off like casual girl that I knew over the years.
I want all the details, but I want them to be on the Patreon episode.
Right. No, I mean,
so I picture you as like this Matthew McConaughey type character from like Dazed and Confused, where like you pull up, you pick up a chick at her place, or a lady. I don't want to say chick and demean them in any way, but you pick up a lady from her place. She gets in your car, and then you start driving. You're like, so do you give head on the first date? And they go, no. And you go, be a lot cooler if you did. And you just drive around the block and pull back up to their house and just let them out. Because I feel like that's you. Because that's why it's 2.5 dates, because you got head on one of them. So it's a better date than she wasn't great, but you know what?
Honestly, it's such a Patreon worthy episode. I'm telling you right now.
All right.
I'm telling you right now. But again, like the second one was, like I said, a girl I knew over the last 5 years on and off, and met up with her down the shore at her family house. And it went from great to a sharp nosedive to me literally just leaving that night.
Well, since you're bringing this up, we're going to record this Patreon episode tonight. I want to record this tonight. I want to get this in. I want to get a few more beers in you before we do it.
Okay. But then the third one honestly went fantastic, and I think I turned into like a 14-year-old girl and became almost like the Sage 5 clinger.
You became the clinger.
I think in text messages. I thought we were like having like, I thought I got the notion where she wanted to like
you
get
might
some talk
you might
and
actually
questions
just
out.
be getting nervous and you
I think I made it. I think I laid it on a little too thick when I was a little bored at work.
I think the 14-year-old girl in you that you're worried about is that you are over analyzing a situation.
I'm just eager, anxious.
We all are, Jay.
It would be a slight long distance relationship too, because she lives in New York.
Jay, I was away from my wife for 4 days. I was eager. I was anxious. Like Beetlejuice. Yeah. I feel a little anxious, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I do.
So for me, I took a trip this week. It wasn't, while I did have fun on the trip, we did manage to go to the beach, and I had my daughter with me. We traveled down to Myrtle Beach. There was sort of a somber reason why we were going. It's not something I brought up on the show because I don't think it really sunk in for me until we were down there. But my grandfather passed away close to a month and a half ago, almost 2 months ago.
Very sorry about that, buddy.
So we drove down to Myrtle Beach because his memorial service was on Saturday. So we drove down on Thursday, and we stayed in an Airbnb down there. Me, my daughter, my brother, his wife, his daughter, my mom, and my dad. 7 people.
How big was the house?
It was like the Real World Family Edition. It was small. It was 2 bedrooms. 2 bedrooms.
Oh my!
Yeah, and then my Uncle Frank also wound up staying with us.
Oh
too.
my!
So, yeah, it was a little cramped, but however, it's not like no one. I don't think anybody stepped on each other's toes. No one got on each other's nerves. So we go down there. We had a great time at the beach. My daughter fucking loves the beach, dude. She loves the water. She's constantly in it the whole time we're down there. And you know, I got the chance to take her out into the water and stuff, and she's just not afraid at all. She's just
I was when I was her age. I was afraid of the water and the sand.
Not afraid of the water. You know, if a wave hits her in the face and stuff, she gets a little deterred. But a few minutes later, she'll bounce back and she'll be right back into it. So,
it's rougher down there, the water.
A little bit. So I love seeing that. I love seeing my daughter just have a blast on the beach. And 12 hours in the car with a 4-year-old could go really badly, but. It didn't. She was great. She had her tablet. She had movies. Yeah, she was constantly entertained and stuff. And she did the potty pretty well. A few mishaps, but ultimately really well.
To be expected.
And then of course, you know, the real reason we were down there was my grandfather's memorial, which was it was a little tough because like at first I didn't really know like how to feel until I was asked to say something, and then I had to I had to like everybody took turns saying something.
Okay.
Everybody took turns saying something, so it wasn't like I was doing the sole eulogy or anything, but we all took turns just kind of saying our piece. And that was when I really took time to like just reflect with myself and write something down that kind of expressed how I felt in with all that. And then right after that, the next day we were gone, you know? So it was just, and then I was back and reality sank in, and then I was just sick, just miserably sick for 2 days. I don't know whether it was the travel. I don't know whether it was because my niece was sick, but I'm not entirely sure. But I just wound up feeling ill for the past 2 days, and today I'm starting to finally feel like I'm on the mend. So
Good.
and I completed on the trip. I was able to edit the episode 104, which everybody heard last week, the movie Cocktail, for the 10th anniversary of The Dark Knight, and I was able to complete my annual rewatch of Game of Thrones.
You finished?
And now I'm sad again. Just as sad as I was when it ended 12 months ago. I'm just as sad.
You guys
again.
got through it way too quickly.
Dude, we'll do it again. By all reports, we got some stuff in news, but by all reports, it's looking like
You gotta get back into Breaking Bad again.
I don't want to ever go back to that. I'm afraid that
Really?
I'm afraid if I go back to that, I'm just not going to enjoy it as much. I just know it. Where I feel like I find new levels and new depths of things to enjoy with Game of Thrones because it's its own world.
Okay, I see that.
Because it's its own world.
There's so much in there.
Right.
Yeah.
It references its own lore in little ways and stuff
Breaking
like
Bad
that.
can be like maybe every 10 years.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
But yeah, so that was pretty much my week, man. And right back into it now, back into the fray.
Well, I'm looking forward to what we're gonna have coming out soon with Comic-Con. Comic-Con comes out this week. Lots of new footage, teasers, trailers, new information about projects being in development, and I'm really excited. Yeah,
And with fingers crossed, maybe Warner Bros. Will just implode.
or that.
Because me and you were counting before we started, and of the films in production, it looks like 5 or possibly 6 of them have Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn in them.
I love Margot Robbie.
But
I
she-
do.
but she
but
is-
my God,
she's
5
their-
or 6
5 or
is
6
insane.
Yeah, she is their
That's
Iron
insane.
Man.
Like, think about that.
She's their Iron Man. Like that's the. And I was like, she's like, I just don't know if I was that drawn to her in Suicide Squad enough for me to say like, yeah, I can go 5 or 6 more rounds with that.
I think I could. That's the funny thing. Like, it's surprising, but her character is engaging enough for women and men, on top of being so unpredictable, where she can go anywhere. She can go in any kind of direction. And plus, certain movies going to have her play the Doctor, right? A little bit more than just Harley Quinn.
It's possible. that in the Joker Harley Quinn solo
So
movie,
it could be a little
you could
more
see
interesting.
that.
Yeah.
All right, Jay. So since we're kind of skirting the topics here, why don't
Yeah,
we
we are.
go?
Let's just dive in.
Jump right in the news. All right, Jay, why don't you hit us with your first news story?
Well, what do you think about Birds of Prey?
Yeah, so
We're talking about Margot Robbie recently.
That's another Margot Robbie thing.
And this is like something that just essentially got released. I'm not sure if it's going to be called Birds of Prey. They're saying it is right now. But they're saying it's going to feature Black Canary, Huntress, Cassandra,
Black Canary,
Canary.
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 It's a fucking bird. Canary. Canary.
Maybe you should just read these names. I'm going to fuck them up. Huntress, Cassandra Cain, Renee.
Dude, I'm not
Montoya.
gonna. I'm not gonna lie. Like, what the fuck is a black canary? I'm just.
See, this is why I'm not a reader. I mispronounce everything.
Oh my god. Anyway, so Birds of Prey is kind of like this crime fighting team that is all women in the DC universe. It's run by Oracle in the comic books. Oracle is the former Batgirl. It's Barbara Gordon. She runs them all, and they're just kind of a crime fighting team that operates out of Gotham.
Your wife knows about the characters, and she seems to be a little bit excited about the film possibly happening.
It's a cool concept because it's all of like. A lot of them are Batman underlings and stuff like that, but you really get to see them strike out on their own and not be sidekicks and stuff like that. So it's very similar to like a Teen Titans type thing, but it's more, I would say, more interesting than that, given the characters that are like, Huntress is the daughter of a mobster, right? And
so
but
it's all darker,
she's a crime fighter.
Yeah,
A little bit darker.
Yeah.
So I would be excited for that. Harley Quinn has been in the Birds of Prey before because she, in the comics, has skirted the line of good and evil back and forth,
right?
Depending on where her relationship, what her Facebook status is with Mr. J at the time. Mr.
J.
now I would be more interested in a Birds of Prey movie if I didn't know that they also had a Gotham City Sirens movie in the works, which is Harley Quinn, Catwoman, and Poison Ivy.
A lot of these things just might not even happen.
Right. And then a Gotham City Sirens movie kind of sounds like the all-female version of a Suicide Squad, where, it's just it's going to be very, very strange to see them try to kind of like do this dance where it's like you can't have those movies come out consecutively, right? Like you can't have a Gotham City Sirens movie and a Birds of Prey in the same year, because then you're just being too derivative of yourself. Even in consecutive years, if one came out in 2020 and one came out in 2021, that would still feel a little too close together. They seem a little bit too derivative of themselves. So I would like I don't know, I would like to see maybe they mix the two, maybe the Birds of Prey versus the Gotham City Sirens in some way, find a way to make that interesting. I don't know, but DC's got a lot of shit going on, and the weird thing is that while they have little news trickling out here and there, it's not these big announcements that they were doing before, where they were like, we're gonna be making this movie now, and then nothing else about it for a long time. Now it's just more, they've made all these announcements, and I think they honestly are looking at their development slate and actually coming up with a plan. I don't know what that plan is, but that's kind of intriguing to me, that I don't know where they're going now. And speaking of DCEU, Jay, the ink is dry on contracts over there at Warner Brothers. Joaquin Phoenix has closed the deal to star in the Joker standalone movie. Now, they make a point to say that this is the lower budget standalone movie, which means this is a more personal, grounded, down-to-earth Joker movie that is not part of the DCEU.
I think I heard the number 60. I think around 60 million.
Yep. And it's going to be taking place in the 1980s.
I'm loving that even more, actually. Holy shit.
What is it with Warner Brothers in the 80s? Do you feel like
I love the 80s, especially if it's down.
No. I like it because it's something they can do that actually separates them from Marvel, right? Like Marvel's going to play in the 90s a little bit coming up, but that's not their wheelhouse, right? They're not going to be telling a lot of stories.
But also,
the 90s.
city landscapes in the 80s were really trashy, really dirty, really fucked up. Like drugs were everywhere.
Dude, even Sesame Street looked like it was on drugs in the 70s.
So it did. It really did.
Like if you go back and you watch Sesame Street, like they actually filmed on streets in the 70s. So like you can see like Big Bird's feathers like blowing in the wind, but everybody looks like hobos, and like it's so weird. It's just like
very bizarre.
And like Oscar the Grouch was like gray, and like you just look at him and you're like, that dude's on fucking junk. What are you gonna do about it? Fuck off, kid.
A little too accurate. Yeah.
Excuse me while I light this spliff.
But I'm actually really excited for this film, to be honest. Joaquin commits 100% into films. I enjoyed the fact that it is a standalone movie.
It's just weird to
have to mentally prepare yourself for that.
I'm more excited for this than I am the Jared Leto one. I mean, that's for sure. Because from what I saw, Jared Leto's Joker, I didn't hate him, but I didn't like him. I don't feel like I got enough. So maybe getting more of him doing it might be good. Because I remember that was his big complaint, and I think they might have given Jared Leto his own solo Joker movie as kind of like the carrot that's dangling on the stick, because he was so upset and vocal about it in the media that I filmed for months and most of my shit got cut.
You can tell how heavily edited it was.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. I mean, he pretty much was probably misled about like what his role in the movie was going to be.
And we're 2 years removed from that.
And he's the Joker of all people. And so it's a prominent character. They need to keep him in the franchise, so they're going to keep him happy.
Absolutely.
Now, apparently, zombies are coming back. 2 movies have been announced. Jim Jarmusch, who I love, who just recently tackled a great movie in the vampire realm, is doing a zombie comedy called The Dead Don't Die, and it has a hell of a cast of Selena Gomez, Adam Driver, Daniel Craig, Chloe Sevigny, Tilda Swinton, Bill Murray, Austin Butler, Steve Buscemi. So they're filming right now. That's really exciting. Then also Zombieland 2 was announced and confirming the whole cast to return, and it comes out October next year. So
October 2019.
That's pretty fucking exciting for me, because I am really excited for both of those movies.
You also have World War Z 2 coming out.
Yeah, but I don't know when it's going to start filming.
No clue. But
if it even does.
But are you okay with zombies making a comeback? Because I feel like it's
But these 2 movies I'm very happy with.
I feel like, we just had a slew of zombie movies back in, circa 2011, 2012.
It's all about quality, Dave. Dave, it's all about quality, man.
I'm sorry, I'm still waiting for my Danny Boyle 28 months later. I need that. That's what I'm waiting for, baby.
He's tackling Daniel Craig and James Bond one last time.
So some other movie news. Gundam live action movie has been announced. If you're not familiar with Gundam, it is probably one of the most popular anime imports to the US. It is going to be a co-production between Sunrise, who owns the anime rights to the Gundam series, and Legendary Pictures. So it kind of fits in with like that. Legendary Pictures has been doing Kong and Godzilla, so it kind of fits with like this kind of resurgence of kaiju and big mechs and giant robots and stuff. But I really enjoy the Gundam series. I've liked several of the series, and there's not just one Gundam anime. I mean, there's multiple series over multiple decades, each one to varying degrees of quality, but I enjoy them for the most part. So I'm actually really excited for this. And Jay, I wonder if this announcement comes in no small part to the fact that a Gundam appeared in one of this summer's biggest films, Ready Player One.
I don't think so, to be honest.
It's possible. It's Warner Brothers, Legendary Pictures.
Yeah. I mean,
they had to make that deal with Sunrise prior to put the Gundam in.
This is a property I really don't know much about, so I can't really say much about it.
A lot of people on the internet were going nuts when they saw a Gundam in that trailer. People were very happy to see see a Gundam. So I think part of that might have a reason to do with why this film got greenlit. So a Gundam live action movie will be coming. Jay, what else you got?
Neil Blomkamp is going to be directing a new RoboCop film, which is apparently an exact sequel to the original. So it's not going to be like a standalone. It's not going to be like a rehash or a revamp or whatever. It's going to be a complete sequel to the original. I love the choice. I'm intrigued. I'm just kind of surprised that so close to the recent flop that they're going to try and tackle this again, That was 4 years ago, that flop. That was 4 years ago. But that was also a remake, and this is going to be a continuation. And, let's face it, he's kind of owed, right? Like, he was given an Alien film, and then it was taken from him. Yeah.
He's kind of owed something, I feel like. Something that scratches that fandom itch, that I felt like he was making the type of movies he was making so that he can get to this point to play in these wheelhouses.
This is in his wheelhouse. It'll be great.
It is. And I think he's the type of guy who has a love for that genre. He has a love for those 80s action films with special effects and sci-fi. I think all of his films, the way they look would lend to a modern telling of these stories.
Sure.
But since you say it's a continuation, like, does that mean that Peter Weller's going to be back playing RoboCop? Like, I wonder that, because Peter Weller was born in 1947, my friend. He is...
Anything's possible nowadays. De-aging technology, all that fun stuff is pretty exceptional. And we'll get into that in the Ant-Man and the Wasp review a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's 71 years old, though. So I doubt they'll be using him.
Yeah.
It could,
I don't know. But apparently it's a sequel.
Right, not a whole lot. They could just be following a whole new RoboCop. Because let's face it, if RoboCop was successful, they would implore more RoboCops, another RoboCop after this one has fallen. But Neil Blomkamp doing that kind of has me a little bit excited, man. Just not gonna lie.
I'm a fan of the original, so.
And Neil Blomkamp, he went, so he did, he obviously did the fantastic District 9, which was critically loved, fan loved, and has grown over the years past its critical, its theatrical release.
Stand the test of time, I believe. It really, really will.
You can't really call it a cult film because it was a success when it came out, but you could definitely say that its cult status grows, I would say. But
tapping into a little bit more like the mainstream audience.
And then Elysium came out, which was mediocre. It was so critically, film wise as well. It just wasn't what District 9 was.
Nobody wants to see Matt Damon bald.
No, that's
really what it was.
He looked creepy as shit.
Creepy as fuck.
And then Chappie, which I felt like that was a marketing issue with that film because I didn't like the film to begin with, number one, but I also was very unprepared for that story with Chappie because I felt like the story was leading you down this path where Chappie was like this reformed robot that was going to be a symbol of hope to the downtrodden, a symbol of hope to the 1%. I'm sorry, a symbol of hope to the 99%, and he was going to rise up against the power. And then it turned out he was a fucking baby the entire time. And it's like, and I felt like Shredder in Turtles 2. They're babies. And I just couldn't stand that movie. And then Neil Blomkamp went away for a while. He just disappeared. And then he did these, you can look him up. He did a series of YouTube shorts that were all in the vein of like his sci-fi type worlds. And they were all pretty damn good.
Of course they were.
They were because
they were
because he was doing his own thing outside of a studio. He was running himself. They were each about 15 to 20 minutes long.
I feel like I got this guy figured out as far as his style, and it makes sense because like he's a particular guy. He knows what he wants and he knows how to do it. But he is in a wheelhouse that he needs to stay in, and if he doesn't get what he wants and what he needs to be supported to do it, like Alien, right? He was probably prepping for a while to do it, and the rug got swept underneath of him, and he just
by Ridley Scott, who's like, I'm not going to have this fucking Blomkamp cunt
and he's
touching
still,
my shit.
He's still too powerful in Hollywood right now. He can do whatever the hell he wants, obviously. So, good for him. I wish him all the best. I mean, I'm always going to be intrigued with anything he does in the future.
I know me and Mark like the joke before that it was Ridley Scott that made the phone call to Neil Blomkamp. He's just like, I cunt, you can forget your Alien fucking 5. And you can still, even though it's over the phone, you can still smell his hot scotchy cigar breath coming through the phone.
I love it.
I'm gonna ruin the Alien universe. You're not gonna get your filthy fucking mitts on it.
He probably would do that. It's mine.
Go play with your YouTube, you cunt.
All right, so brighter news in the Star Wars world. Got a couple of news items. Casting news, actually, for episode 9. Kerry Russell and Billy D. Williams is going to reprise his role as Lando. So, what do you think, Dave?
It's about fucking time.
All right. I like Kerry Russell for the add-in with the new character. I could see her face fitting into that world. I believe.
No, I'm just more excited about Lando. I mean,
of course. Yeah.
I love Lando as a character. I never felt like he really got his.
He just better not die. I don't want to see another old character come back in the movie just to die.
But no, for me, like when I was watching, when I was like getting into this news and stuff like that, I was thinking about it, and there really wasn't a place for Lando in the other two films. I might have liked a nod to him at some point in it without outright showing him. Because it's just kind of
maybe like an extended scene of like mourning Solo's death.
But if you think about it, he's not. He wasn't that big of a character really in the original trilogy. I mean, he shows up halfway through the second one. He betrays them and then winds up helping them. And then
let's be honest. He's only in this movie because of Solo. Right, because they reintroduced this character back into the franchise. I think they were always
going to bring him back, and you got to remember that you now have J.J. Abrams behind the helm, so he is very nostalgic, and I feel like he felt like now's the time to bring him back. So I'm very excited for that news. I don't know how they'll fit him in. I kind of hope it's sparsely. I kind of hope it's not a lot. I really hope it's a little bit more, I don't think it's gonna be that bit more than a cameo, but a little bit less than I would say like any type of main plot point character. So
he'll have a scene or two.
More casting news, Jay, and this casting news I love because it involves one of the most handsome men in the entire world. Ooh. A man my woman would have a hall pass for. Idris Elba is going to play the villain in The Rock and Jason Statham's Fast and Furious spin-off film.
But not just that, Vanessa Kirby as well from The Queen, who plays the sister.
All about this. Fucking all about this.
I am too. This is, oh my lord, testosterone orgasm. That's really what it is.
So it's going to be the brawn of The Rock and Jason Statham versus the wits and just the
the brawn,
the charisma of.
He's a big guy.
He's a big guy, but he's not.
But he's not like Jack Diesel kind of guy,
He
but
doesn't-
he could get that way.
No one
if
looks
he starts working out.
no one looks big when they stand next to The Rock. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. Now
Well, it's because The Rock is like 6'4", 6'5".
very excited for this, even though Idris Elba is not great at picking great roles sometimes. The villain in Star Trek 3, Dark Tower, but I still enjoy
No,
his.
he's picking good roles. He's just not picking the right people to play in the sandbox with.
Yeah, I just like his presence on screen. I don't know what it is. He brings this level of
Gravitas.
Yeah, really. That's just the best word to describe it. Gravitas.
It's true.
More casting news. Jeremy Renner is going to be joining the cast of the Spawn film starring Jamie Foxx. He is going to be playing the detective Twitch Williams, which, as we talked about before, is more or less a starring role because the main characters in the story are going to be Sam and Twitch.
I think he'll fit right in there.
I think he
Real
will
well.
too.
Yeah.
If you look at actually Twitch in the comics, Jeremy Renner kind of fits that character very, very well. So I'm actually excited for that. I don't know. I still don't know whether I'm excited for this film. I think it's good casting on their part there.
I need way more information.
I'm still not crazy about Jamie Foxx as Al Simmons as Spawn, and I'm still not sold on this whole. I love that they're following Sam and Twitch and like Spawn is like this background character, but I just don't know story wise how that is going to pan out in a comic book film.
We'll see. Also, another quick casting announcement. Top Gun 2 adds Miles Teller to be Goose's son. I think he's going to obviously play a significant role. From what I hear about the project, there might be a little bit of drone stuff with the old school stuff going on with the fighter pilots. He might be a drone guy. I'm not exactly sure. There could be some...
Stealth. They're going to do the film Stealth.
Oh, God, don't ever bring up that name again. That was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. That was one of the movies
Jessica Biel's finest.
that
Stealth.
changed my respect for Hollywood.
That movie was bad.
It was so bad.
So, Jay, I got two more news stories. Both of them involve HBO. So the first one, you might remember that HBO had merged a little while back with Time Warner and AT&T, and Time Warner and AT&T had said that they were going to be more hands-off with HBO. Well, it seems like they're kind of pushing HBO into a direction. They want HBO to become more of a streaming service and less so of the home box office network. They want them to appeal to a broader audience. Right now, they have a very niche audience with where people like you, Jay, really enjoy the content on HBO. And me, I do enjoy a lot of the content on HBO.
HBO and Showtime are my two favorites.
But the nice part about HBO is that it's always there, right? Like, if I didn't catch up on all The Sopranos, it's still all there. It's all there on HBO Go. It's all there on HBO On Demand. If I want to, I haven't watched Barry yet, but you finished watching Barry, and you said
I really like Barry,
and you really like Barry. I'm not that interested in jumping into Barry right now, but it's always there for me, and so. It is like a streaming service. It's just that it's not that broad. AT&T wants them to broaden it. And rumor is, first off, they have several pilots in the works for Game of Thrones spinoffs. And Westworld is not performing in the way they wanted it to do with being the Game of Thrones replacement.
Fuck Westworld.
So they are going to they have two pilots that are going to be coming out. One is already rumored to be pretty much guaranteed to be picked up for series. And that's the second bit of news. It looks like the first prequel to Game of Thrones that will be brought to series will be entitled The Long Night. And it will take place when the first men battled and Azor Ahai
Thousands of years
ago battled against the White Walkers with the Children of the Forest against the White Walkers.
I'm nervous, dude. I'm nervous. I
like
to say
it. I like it. I like that. I like that it's
thousands of years ago. What the hell is the landscape going to be like? Like
so,
the characters are they going to be like naked, like running in the trees? Like what the fuck?
No,
like,
it's 7 kingdoms, but they're not brought together by the Targaryens yet. So the North is the North, and the Stark is the king of the North in it.
Still thousands of years ago, though.
Always been that way, buddy.
Really?
Always been that way.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's and the first men came and they fought a war against the Children of the Forest for their land, and the first men were cutting down weirwood trees, and in their desperation, which we see in the HBO series, in their desperation, the Children of the Forest created the White Walkers, and the White Walkers wound up almost taking over all of Westeros, bringing about the long winter, the long night.
Right.
So I'm actually really interested in that because
I hope they keep with the same vein, like as far as the look and the aesthetic. Right. They don't go cheap.
And a lot of these ancient names are still going to ring true to us. Like we're gonna know who Starks are. We're gonna know who Boltons are. We're gonna know when these people are mentioned, it's just their ancestors that we're following now. And I'm intrigued by that. Now the other ones,
and even with Game of Thrones, you learn a little bit of the ancestors at times.
Exactly. And the other rumored one is the Doom of Valyria. So it may not actually take place in Westeros at all. It'll take place in Essos, when Valyria was still a thriving empire, and the Targaryen family will be in it. However, before they invaded Westeros, they were basically like a third tier family in the Valyrian Empire. They were a very small family. They were not a big prominent family. It was only after they invaded Westeros, because they fled from the Doom of Valyria, because one of their daughters had a vision of the volcano going off, destroying Valyria. But the thing is, it's going to be extremely expensive, because in Valyria, everyone rode dragons, Jay. We had a lot of dragons in the air.
Oh boy.
A lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. So, but that looks like it's going to be the direction that HBO is going. Broader. They want to get into more comedy. They want to get into more drama. They want to get into more of their own feature films, their own films that'll stream on their services, but they also want to broaden into more
maybe like the podcasting world and tap into the Podfix network.
No, thank you.
Pick them up. Yeah.
I fucking highly doubt that. Highly fucking doubt that. All right, so that's going to do it for our news. Coming up next, me and Jay are going to get into our brief review of Ant-Man and the Wasp. All right, Jay, we got our Ant-Man and the Wasp review to get to. So I'm actually surprised you didn't go see this on opening weekend.
Well, I waited a little bit. I saw it with some of my kids from work, and this is a movie that I'm not jumping out of my seat to go see. And, just like Jurassic Park, I still have yet to go see. And with all the negative buzz and me not particularly liking the marketing material, it's really hard for me to get to the theaters anymore, because there's nothing really out there so much that's getting me motivated to go and watch. I'm really watching a ton of stuff on, Netflix and stuff like that, and catching up with some old movies I never saw before, things like that.
It's the summer. There's nothing new on TV, so you catch up on the things that you haven't
got to yet.
Exactly.
And it's kind of fun getting into that. But this movie is still a fun property, and it's kind of interesting to have it come out right after Infinity War.
Right. So for me, like me and Lauren really enjoyed the first one, so much so that I did go opening night to see this. I was really excited for it. I really enjoy Paul Rudd as the character. I especially enjoyed Evangeline Lilly in the last one, and I was really looking forward to her in this one taking a more prominent role, and she didn't disappoint in my mind.
She didn't.
I really enjoyed that aspect of it. But I think you're right. It felt a little weird getting into this smaller story 2 months after I just saw probably the most grandiose thing that Marvel could have put out.
Right.
And it's like, okay, but
even though he wasn't in that movie,
right?
It's still like,
and it's not a knock on it or anything like that.
But it is sort of refreshing in the same time, because it is so different from the last two movies, Black Panther and Infinity War.
And I do want to say that this is going to be a spoiler-free review. We're not going to be spoiling the film at all, even though I know it's been out for, at this point, by the time you guys hear this, a week and a half, 2 weeks. It's not out everywhere, and I don't feel like
it's not really a spoiler-worthy movie. movie to get into later on.
And second, like, you know, first off, there are a ton of Easter eggs in there. However, they're not big Easter eggs. They're not massive Easter eggs that have a whole lot to do with the future of the Marvel universe, like some of the other films have had. And for the most part, the spoilers for it, there really is only one to really discuss as far as the Marvel universe goes, and that's the final scene, a post-credit scene. But I don't feel like there's a whole lot to discuss there other than speculation, which we don't need to sit here and speculate. No. We can just talk about the film itself. And, you know, the film, I loved... I love. I think
we're on the same page with this. We discussed it a little bit briefly in pre-production, but it's a fun movie. There's a lot of sequences that worked, and there were a lot of humor involved, and family emotion involved with his daughter, for example.
Oh, I loved Cassie.
That was fantastic. It was really good seeing her in the movie.
I love Cassie in this, and they do have a few moments where they nod and they tease that Cassie may, you know, join up with him at some point, or at least she has the desire to. And we know that the Young Avengers movie's coming out in a couple of years. It's going to be part of like a different phase. It's possible that we could see Cassie show up there in her Young Avengers role of stature, which is kind of cool. But for me, like that stuff, you know, was great, but it's minor spoilerly, but we know that he's on house arrest based on the trailers and stuff like that.
Yes.
And throughout the film, they always mention like that was part of your plea bargain. What plea bargain did he take? What information did he give up? Who did he sell?
We never get that.
Who did he sell out? Because a plea bargain isn't just given to you because you turn yourself in. He was already caught. He was in the raft. So he was caught. So what plea bargain did he take? And what did he offer the government? And they kind of allude that he offered up Evangeline Lilly and
Michael Douglas's
character of Hank Pym. However, they don't outright say that at all in the film. So that was one of those things where we know that they are on the run in the film.
Yeah. And they're angry with them, and he didn't have permission to go out there and do what he was doing in that movie. It comes back from time to time. It's intriguing. I mean, it's fun seeing. First of all, Michael Douglas, I was really impressed because I did not expect him to have such a large role in this movie, and he came and delivered. And I thought his performance was really, really strong in this movie. Yeah.
And he's one of those guys that took the role in the original one because his kids liked, you know, the Marvel universe and stuff like that. So he took the role. Yeah, because his kids liked it. But, you know, I felt like this time he really embraced the character. And I think the acting throughout the film was pretty on point, with the exception of, again, the villain. I was not happy with the acting from the woman who played Ghost, Hannah John Kamen. You know, we've seen her in other things. You know, she was in Ready Player One. She's been in Black Mirror, and I know we both enjoyed her in Black Mirror. But, you know, she just... For me, she didn't carry any type of depth. Like, she had these emotional moments where you wanted to feel for her, but I never did. Even when she was like delivering her lines, I just
right. And there's a character in this movie as well who helps her out, and you still don't even understand why he's doing that.
Right.
Really, like, as to the extent that
to the extent that he is.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know. There's other people in the film that I just wasn't too crazy with. You know, Ben Foster, who's played by Lawrence Fishburne. I understand what he was doing here. However, it never came home to me. You didn't feel it. Yeah. They tease a relationship between him and Hank Pym, both in the trailer, but also in the film. And I never at once felt like these two are friends, rivals, frenemies, anything. I kind of felt like they were nothing to each other. And they give you moments where it's like, we could have been something together. Oh, well, too bad we didn't.
Exactly. They just sort of forced it upon you. They made you have to accept the fact that they were that. They just told you. You didn't feel it.
And Michelle Pfeiffer, her role, while nice to close up that storyline, at the same time, It didn't add anything to this story.
Nah.
What this story was that formula from the first one was back again. Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly always showing him up, and Hank Pym there to kind of rib Paul Rudd and laugh at him and then tell him how dumb he is.
Yeah.
And it still worked. If that's not knocking it down at all. It still worked. But you know who really still fucking worked in this movie? Michael Pena.
As he does.
He was still so good in it. Dude, when he...
Oh, my God.
And with that interrogation scene where he spills the beans.
Oh, my God.
So, but that scene where there is a scene where he's being interrogated. I won't go into details about the scene, but he spills the beans about Scott.
It's so fucking funny.
It's so good. And they do his flashback thing where he's doing the fast talking and he's and he said, yes.
I don't even know what to say about it. Like it's just so brilliant. It's so well done.
He was the heart of the film, man. He was the heart of the first one. He was the heart of this one. Like every time he was on screen, I was just having a blast. I was having fun with Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly again. But most of the time, I'm seeing things I saw in the other film, or I saw it in the trailer. Jay, a lot of this stuff I saw in the trailer, even though the trailer didn't give away a big story plot. But
a lot of the fun action sequences.
It gave away.
Yep.
It didn't give away any of Michael Pena's punchlines, though, and some of those were fucking fantastic.
And delivered.
Yeah.
And fun fact, he is actually going to be headlining a big sci-fi movie coming from Netflix soon, so stay tuned for that and support our boy Michael Pena.
And so I really enjoyed that stuff. But as far as the story goes, it was another MacGuffin tale, where they're chasing a MacGuffin, and they get it, they lose it, they have it again, they lose it, they don't have it, it goes here, it goes there. Walton Goggins got it, Walton Goggins loses it. That's
where the story in the movie kind of lost me a little bit.
It definitely meanders. It's literally that MacGuffin, which is what a MacGuffin does. It takes you from action sequence to action sequence, and there is a lot of fun moments in the film. So I'm not saying that I disliked it. I just felt like there was a lack of an overarching story, and there was a real lack of. It didn't bring this.
For me, care.
It didn't bring this character forward at all, right?
No. As far as any of the characters, really, it was very short term.
Right.
You felt like it was so immediate. You're in the moment. It didn't progress any kind of character development for anybody.
So
really.
In the first film, we know that in the end, Scott winds up with
the story
with Evangeline Lilly. They're making out and stuff like that. Hank Pym disapproves jokingly, and it seems like they're all going to live together as a happy crime fighting family. And then we find out in this film that relationship's sort of been broken down because of decisions and things that Scott has done, and whether that gets repaired or not, I mean, it's not a spoiler. This film ends where the other one fucking ended, pretty much.
Yeah.
Unless you stay for a post-credit scene, or a mid-credit scene. Don't stay for the post-credit scene, for Christ's sakes. Don't stay for that. Did you stay till the very end after the credits roll?
I didn't see any of them. I already knew about them, so I didn't stay.
Don't stay for the very last one. I'm going to spoil it right now. Ready?
Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning.
It's an ant playing drums. Done. That's all it was. It was just an ant playing drums.
Fuck you, Marvel. Wasting people's time of their life.
Just like Spider-Man Homecoming after the credits when Captain America's just like, you're still here? It's time for me to talk to you about disappointment. I wish it at least had a punchline like that. It wasn't.
That's kind of funny.
Don't stay for the end credit scene, but the mid credit scene, definitely stay for that one. That one I won't spoil. But yeah, so it was just while I had so much fun with the film, and I really thought that the film still held true to its characters, held true to the tone of the original one, and the story was a little bit lacking for me. And I'll be honest, I was missing a superhero fight, man. I did not get the way the first Ant-Man ended with him and Yellow Jacket fighting it out in Carrie's room, and the way they played with shrinking and fighting and stuff like that was a lot of fun. They did that again in this one, but they peppered it out through the film to the point where you didn't get a big, third act boss battle, a showdown. You didn't get it. It just wasn't here. And that for me, it kind of took the wind out of my sails, because when it was over, I was like, okay, all right, that's it. It's done.
That's it.
Go home.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the problem with the movie, buddy. You know, it was very serviceable.
It's Ferris Bueller. You're still here?
Yeah.
Go home. It's over. We're done.
It's over.
There's no more story to tell.
And it's a good movie.
Come back.
And that's about it. It's just...
Come back next year.
It's just okay.
When Paul Rudd will be back in Avengers Infinity War Part 2 or whatever we're going to call it.
Yeah.
Infinity Gauntlet is what it sounds like it's going to be called. But, J-Man, you got a score for this movie?
This was kind of hard for me to grade. I'm just going to give it a B because I did like the movie, even though I feel like it's going to be another one of those forgettable movies where I just don't care to revisit much at all. But I can't give it any lower of a grade, and I can't really feel like I can give it any kind of higher of a grade because it just left me with that kind of reaction.
I feel exactly the same way as I felt about Doctor Strange, as I felt about this movie. Interesting. I enjoyed some of the stuff.
It was nice seeing fun again in the Marvel movie.
It was.
Like overall, the whole movie from start to finish for the most part.
But the comedic timing wasn't there like it was in Thor Ragnarok. You know what I mean? And it's not there like in James Gunn's Guardian of the Galaxy. It's just not there.
A whole different kind of director.
Yeah, it's just not there. This is
Taika Waititi is a completely more advanced.
I mean,
comedic director.
For me, it's also a B. I mean, that's it. I'll revisit this and I'll enjoy my time with it from time to time. But it's not any of the Marvel films that I'm going to go back to this well over and over again. I would sooner rather watch the original Ant-Man than watch this one. I do think the original Ant-Man is superior to this one. So, yeah, that's it, man. I'm not disappointed in it. I just wasn't blown away by it. It was just all right. It was just pretty good. It was B. It's better than anything.
It is what it is.
Yeah,
Bring on Captain Marvel.
Another Marvel movie. But there was a few things that I did find interesting in it, which is going to lead us into our final segment tonight, where we have our Patreon who joins us. Our patron, they chose the movie InnerSpace, and this movie actually has moments where they pay homage to InnerSpace. InnerSpace is about, a man who shrinks down and goes inside Martin Short's body. And in this, obviously, Ant-Man shrinking down when they go into the quantum realm. That vehicle that they use is very reminiscent of the vehicle, and that sequence of Hank Pym shrinking down inside that vehicle is very reminiscent of the stuff from InnerSpace. So I kind of think it's funny that, like, it had a lot of homages to other movies. Like, for some reason, Paul Rudd's in his bathrobe for a lot of this movie. Apparently, that's an homage to the dude, to the Big Lebowski. For no reason at all.
Yes.
I mean,
it's like, who's going to pick up on that?
The InnerSpace reference
it's just
makes
a fucking
sense.
Robe. He has nothing to do with Lebowski at all. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like it's completely.
Didn't even drink
irrelevant.
a White Russian, for Christ's sake.
No, come on, do something.
But like the reference to InnerSpace makes sense because it's all about shrinking, and so is InnerSpace. But the reference to the Big Lebowski doesn't mean a whole lot. But for better or worse, this is Peyton Reed doing it from start to finish, where the last one was kind of, it almost felt like 50-50 Edgar Wright, Peyton Reed. Like, most of what Edgar Wright had done in pre-production was there and had filmed portions of the film already, and then Peyton Reed took it over. I don't think Peyton Reed did a bad job, though. So I'm okay with giving it a B. Let us know what you think. Reach out to us on Twitter at SuperMoviePod. Let us know what you thought. Let us know if we're being a little bit too harsh. Let us know if you think that this film deserves a better score than a B.
No.
Let us know if you think that we're being far too easy on it and that you think it deserves even a worse score. So stay tuned, because me and Jay are going to get into our beers. Welcome back to the beer segment. Me and Jay got 2 beers we're going to be reviewing for you. But before we do that, we want to drop a line to our sponsor, Blowfish. Blowfish is the only FDA-approved hangover cure. It's just 2 tablets that cost less than $1.25 per dose. You drop those into about 8 to 12 ounces of water, wait for them to dissolve, drink it down, and the night before floats away like a butterfly. It just takes that hangover right out of you.
It does.
So if you want to try out Blowfish, you can head over to to www.forhangovers.com. That's FOR hangovers.com and use the promo code SMBFish. All right, Jay. Now, we do have our drunk scene that we got to get into. And since me and you just got finished reviewing Ant-Man and the Wasp, I figured let's get a drunk scene that has Paul Rudd in it. Because I love Paul Rudd as
everybody does.
As a comedic actor and stuff like that. But I think this was one of my favorite Paul Rudd comedies that have come out.
It's certainly up there for me, too.
All right, Pete, you done boat race, right?
No. Just drink the fucking beer, and you'll get the hang of it.
I've got it. I will find.
Doesn't matter who's winning. It comes down to you and me.
It's gonna
We're
be
the
us who
anchors.
fucking-
We're the
Don't let-
anchors.
Let's boat. Let's boat race. We're gonna keep
Race. Ain't no luck in boat racing.
1, 2, 3, go! Come on, Pete! Come on, Pete! Come on, Pete! Come on, Bring it down! One more time! Let's go, sweet feet! Sweet feet! Go! Yes! Get out of here! Oh! There it is! Bring it down! Come on, come on! Holy! Oh!
I'm sorry.
Get out of my house.
I'm so sorry.
Just get out of my fucking house.
I'm sorry.
This is not cool! Get the fuck out!
Oh my God, seeing Jon Favreau just covered in vomit is just
With just
it's
about
hysterical.
the most amazing Jufro I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Between him and Jonah Hills in Superbad, there's just amazing Jufros. But so that is from I Love You Man, obviously, and that's the sequence where Rashida Jones, who plays Paul Rudd's fiance in it, is trying to get him to branch out and find friends. So he hangs out with the one guy at dinner who's kind of like his clearly there's an attraction there, and then you find out later on that he's gay, and he thought it was a date, not like a man date. And then there's a sequence
which
where
is kind of brilliant because you've never seen it before on film, but it's definitely out there, and it definitely certainly happens.
But I love the poker scene because I used to play poker in college a lot, and there was always the person who would come in to play, and they didn't really know how to play, but somehow they would wind up taking a pot because they stayed in with 7-2 and wound up getting like a flush or wound up getting a straight or a boat, and it's just like, what the fuck? And you get like so pissed off. So I actually understood Jon Favreau's
Players never
reaction.
like playing with beginners.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why.
And then of course they get to the boat race. Which, if you don't know what a boat race is, that is where you're in a line and you chug a beer. So it was Jon Favreau and Paul Rudd on opposite teams. They were the first ones to chug. It goes down the line, and then it comes back to them to chug another one for the finale. And Paul Rudd drinks 2 beers very quickly, and I've seen this happen. He drank them too quickly, and he threw up right all over
Projectile.
Jon Favreau. I just love Jon Favreau's face because just get the fuck out of my house
because he knows they can't
kill him.
Can't kill him because it's his wife's best friend's husband, and it's like he knows he has to see him again like the next weekend.
It's one of the reasons
some barbecue, so he can't completely
It's one of the reasons Lauren never truly goes off on you, because she's like, I'm gonna have to see him next week. So
It's true. It's true.
All right, Jay, let's get into these beers that we're reviewing here, man.
Sure. Well, I have Hubbard's Cave Brewery's Double IPA V16. They are out of Illinois, and it is 8.5 alcohol by volume. And this one is an interesting one because it's got that light hazy kind of pale color tone to it that is not strong on the nose, but has a really kind of banal orangey pineapple flavor, citrus flavor to it.
We probably made it close to a month without banal.
I know. I had to throw it in there. It came out beautifully. And then just like a flat finish, I didn't really care for it. And I was not happy with the beer overall. I mean, I was expecting more, and I think it's kind of middle of the road. I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
Very, very similar feelings on mine. Mine is I must find a truth that is true for me. And this is from Evil Twin Brewing Company out of Brooklyn, New York. Now, with Evil Twin, This is actually part of the Erase and Rewind series. So Erase and Rewind it's a recipe you're never going to see again. They release it, and then they erase it, rewind, and re-record. And this is number 21 of this series. And it's 7% alcohol per volume, and I'm not actually a huge fan of it at all. It is an IPA. However, it does lack a serious amount of hop. It barely has any hop to it at all.
No.
It's extremely citrusy and juicy up front. No bitter on the back end. Not a terrible big dry hop in the front. And honestly, it tastes like a pale ale, like a citrus pale ale. And it's not that it tastes bad. It's okay. It's just fine. There's nothing really great about it.
No, I took a sip of yours and I did not like it at all. I kind of I never think I've ever had a beer taste like that exactly, right? It almost tastes like a weird like fruit juice that was not pulp free but really stale almost.
It just doesn't. It's just not wow.
It's very bizarre.
I mean, it's not wow. It doesn't do anything really well, which is probably why it's Erase and Rewind. You know, there might be some people out there that really enjoy this. However, for me, you know, it's not hop forward enough. There's no bitter on the back end. It's banal.
Yes. Unfortunately, this week I picked some banal beers,
but it's not truly bad enough for me to give it like below a 3. You know, like it's okay enough to drink, but you know, it's not bad. It's just not bad. It's just not wow. It's just not good. It's just not.
I probably personally give it a 2.5. For me.
Yeah, it's just not bold enough. I think, you know, it should be bolder, but that's probably why they're never going to release it again, because they knew that about it.
It's experimental.
It's a scratch batch. You know?
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's what beer making is all about, right, Dave? You know all about that.
All right, so coming up next, Jay is going to take a break. He's actually not going to be joining me because we are going to be joined by our first Patreon guest. They pledged to the 4th tier of our Patreon, which is the 15% ABV, the Blue Turtle Shell of Doom. So they're kind enough to be giving us $15 a month and have now allowed themselves to join us on the show, as well as make their own cocktail and to talk about a film of their choosing. So we have a little mini movie cocktail coming up, and it's for InnerSpace.
To Ozzy. Come on, Lucky Flask. Oh, Oklahoma. Tire. Great, Jack.
When things are at their darkest, pal, it's a brave man who can kick back and party.
Jack, let the good times roll.
Here's a man in evening clothes. How he got here, I don't know. Man, you ought to see him go, twisting the night away. He's dancing with the chicken slacks. She's moving up and back. Oh man, there ain't nothing like.
All right, and we are here for a special Patreon episode of Movie Cocktail. And of course, I'm not alone. I am joined by our first patron. She has pledged enough to get herself on to an episode as well as make her own cocktail. And she got to select a movie. And some of you have heard her name before because while my mom has done so much for me in movies with introducing me to big blockbusters like Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, Star Wars, all that shit, everything that is me with cult movies comes from this woman who's joining me right here. It's my sister, Kim.
Hi.
So you picked InnerSpace for your film. Why in the world would you ever pick this film that has pretty much fallen off most people's radar after it came out in 1987?
Well, to be honest, I'm a big 80s fan. I'll watch any 80s movie you put out there, even the B ones, even the horrible ones.
Yeah, because when we just did Masters of the Universe, we were talking about Electric Boogaloo. We were talking about Breakin'.
Yeah.
And you were that's the film you wish we did instead.
No. I do love those movies and I have them on DVD and I watch them regularly, but InnerSpace was just something I was thinking about because I haven't watched it in so long, and I just had to remember what the name was, and I finally remembered what it was, and I was like, this is it! This is what I want to do!
All right, so let's get into talking about the movie.
Test pilot Tuck Pendleton wants to make history. Supermarket clerk Jack Putter needs a vacation.
Jack, you're late. That's not good. You know it's coupon day.
Lieutenant Pendleton is about to be miniaturized, placed into this needle, and then injected into this rabbit.
Rock and roll.
But something went wrong, and Tuck's about to get a new destination. Inside Jack Putter.
Up his ass.
So that's what I would have called this movie, Inside Jack Putter.
He put it in the putter. It's cool. Jesus.
So this tonight was the first time I watched this film. I hadn't ever seen it. Now it's something I'd heard of. I'm aware of it. But
bullshit. I call bullshit.
No, I because it's on a couple like cult lists, like of like things like you should see, like things that you should see. Plus, it won an Academy Award the year that it came out for special effects.
Yes.
What I can only assume is the scene where Martin Short contorts and changes his face into another man's.
I love that part. That's my favorite part. The cowboy.
But the entire time watching this, the only thing I could think of with it was, and you're a Disney file like me, Body Wars, right?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So Body Wars. I used to love that ride in Disney in Epcot, and that's what it reminded me of.
So if you're younger and you don't know what Body Wars was literally the exact same fucking thing as Star Tours, except it was at Epcot. And instead of, fighting Imperials and escaping, you were going into the body of somebody. And I remember you were dislodging a splinter. If I remember right, there's like a splinter in their finger or something. You're in the bloodstream.
Shit, it was so long ago.
You get attacked by white blood cells, all this fun shit.
I remember that.
But that ride's been closed down for damn near 15 years. It's still there, though. Yeah. I saw a YouTube video of someone who does like those sneaking around videos where like he snuck behind the walls and saw like it's still here.
Yeah, well, the whole area is still there. It's just it's only used for festivals now. So
yeah. Epcot's just kind of like
don't
it's dying of cancer.
No,
like
it's not.
The only thing that keeps it alive is the Wine and Food Festival. Like that's it, which goes on constantly.
You do know they're making like 3 other rides in there, right?
Yeah. They got to get on that.
Yeah.
You walk around the world and like I like walking around the world because I like the fact that there's beer stands and stuff now, and there's food and everything is kind of like weird and niche and fun. But then like you get to Norway and there's like this massive line, and me and Lauren were like, what the fuck is this massive line?
It's not for Maelstrom.
No, it's not for Maelstrom. It was for Frozen.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, can we fast pass that? I don't know why. It's just like there's this many people online. I want to see what there was no fast passes for that available the entire week we were there. And I was like, you know what? I'm not missing anything.
Yeah, no. It's basically Maelstrom now formed into Frozen, which I absolutely hated that ride. I was so upset. I wanted to see the disappear. But anyway.
All right. So that's enough about Disney. But maybe someday we can come back and do a Disney episode where we talk about all of our trips to Disney and some of the fun shit you can do there.
I don't think anybody would want to listen to us talk about that.
I did some fun things in Disney.
Yeah, well, okay.
Me and Lauren went just this year. We went to Disneyland, which was my first time there, and goddamn, the streets are just smaller.
Yeah. It's tiny.
It's so small, and it was so congested. And we were there on a Monday.
Yeah.
And like I texted my friend, I was like, "Man, it's really packed." And he's just like, "No, it's not packed." He's like, "That's just Disney World on a normal day."
Yeah.
And like it still took us like an hour just to get into the park. Fuck.
Did you ride Indiana Jones?
Shit, yeah, I did.
Yeah, man.
I remember like getting so excited when he drops down from the ceiling and like and he's hanging from the rope and stuff. And I'm like, I'm almost close enough to touch him. I know he's a puppet. But if I could just like put my hands on him.
Let me touch you, please.
But now the stunt show is gone from Mickey Studios. So
yeah, well.
I love the stunt show. It was one of my favorite things. I made Lauren sit through it twice while we were there.
Oh, you're
Disney
horrible.
I fucking love it.
Twice?
Twice.
I mean, I could do it once.
I absolutely love it. And it's been the same for like 25 fucking years.
Yeah, you know exactly what's going to happen. Cut! Oh, is he okay? Oh, okay. We're good.
The guy in the Hawaiian shirt is always a plant. All right, so InnerSpace is the film that you chose. Now, you said you love 80s films and everything, but like, what is it about this film that like just sticks with you particularly out of like any other 80s film that you could have picked? 'Cause believe me, there's a ton, and I can probably talk about a lot of them at great length.
Yeah.
What is it about this one that makes you even own it on Amazon, right? Like,
and now I do, yeah. Yeah, as of like a week ago. Now that I figured out what the name was, because I remembered it when I was a kid, you know? I don't remember all the names from when I was a kid. I'm like I said, 80s just reminds me of my younger years, so I don't have to sit there and worry about a job or kids or being married.
All those escapist things.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All those things you want to get away from.
Yeah. But I liked Martin Short, you know, The Three Amigos. I love that movie. We should have did that movie. Damn it. God, what the hell?
We'll be famous.
Yeah.
Infamous.
God, man, Chevy Chase and I should have picked that movie.
Nah. Well, I mean, so this one does have Martin Short doing what he was famous for, which is really like being the proto Jim Carrey, like at the time.
Yeah.
Very physical comedy. There's not really anything he says in this film that's hilarious, you know. And I know I believe he did improv and stuff like that, but he wasn't like your classic like stand-up comedian, not like other SNL alum have been and stuff. So he's very like physical, and that's what this film is. It's physical embarrassment comedy.
I like when he gets drunk and dances. That's my favorite part.
which you heard at the start of this episode. So you made a cocktail for this to commemorate your love of InnerSpace.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah.
The first couple rounds.
That's the way all these cocktails go.
It's horrible.
They are terrible until 0 hour when we got to get them good. And like we're all around. And like the last one Jay made for Masters of the Universe, I mean, he tried to use gin and like all this other shit. And it tasted like, well, now there's a moratorium on gin for cocktails until someone cracks the code that we don't have.
There is only one gin out there that I like, and it's like $40 for a pint of it.
Is it like sipping on gin and juice?
No.
Laid back.
With my mind on my money and my money on my mind. I'm trying to back away from the mic so nobody gets my loud laugh.
That's all right. I'll equalize it all. We'll make you sound pretty. Don't you worry.
Oh, thanks. Oh, jeez. I'm going to sound like Meghan Trainor.
So what went into your cocktail?
A Southern Comfort, which is the most horrible, disgusting stuff I've ever had in my life.
It's garbage, yeah. It's garbage whiskey.
I don't know why anybody drinks it.
No, I have no clue.
Yeah.
It's popular.
Well, not as popular. Fireball's more popular now. Yeah, that's horrible too.
That's pretty bad. I can do a shot of Fireball. And we did make a Fireball cocktail as well. Jay made a Jay's Firebug for Starship Troopers.
What was in that?
Oh, I'd have to go back. But you can double check. You can go to www.podfixnetwork.com, go to movie cocktails and see the list of all of them there. Or
you're in front of me now. I want to know the recipe now. So anyway, it's SoCo, pear juice, orange bitters, and a squeeze of lime.
Now, do you remember the parts that you put in?
Part SoCo, part and a half pear. Hold on, wait. A couple, like about 6 dashes of orange bitters.
Okay, so an ounce of SoCo, an ounce and a half of pear juice, 3 dashes of orange bitters, 6 dashes of orange bitters. Yeah. And then a squiz of lime.
Squiz of lime.
Or like a tablespoon, something like that. You know.
I don't know. Whatever works
Teaspoon,
for you.
Tablespoon.
I mean, for what you did for your wife, you might as well just give her lime juice.
Lime juice to taste.
Yeah.
I love that in recipes. When it's just like salt and pepper to taste. And it's like, yeah. Just chucking handfuls of salt and pepper on it. And it's just
oh, my God.
Because I have a taste. So you asked me about the Jay's Firebug. So what was in Jay's Firebug was 2.5 ounces of Jack Daniel's Fire.
Ugh.
2 dashes of bitters. I guess it was just regular bitters because he didn't specify orange bitters, so it must be lemon bitters. A lime wheel. And then you top it off with ginger ale and ice, or we tried it with ginger beer and it worked quite well. But if you use ginger beer,
it's strong.
So if you use ginger beer, I always say use Krabby's. I love Krabby's ginger beer. Krabby's, yeah.
Yeah.
Comes from the UK.
Yeah.
It's fancy as shit.
Does it come right out like a Planned Parenthood? The crabs are just, they just grind them up and just put it in the can? What the hell's going on here?
I got crabs. I don't know if they're Alaskan king, but they feel huge.
Jesus Christ. Did you ever see that B movie Tick? Like the tick, like it was about ticks, like huge ticks.
No.
Oh my God, it was horrible because I think one of them came out of the chick's vagina. I was like,
my God.
Ah!
Slither. That's a movie cocktail I need to do.
Slither.
That just reminded me of Slither for some reason. Just that moment when she's in the tub and
yeah. This reminded me of Freddy Krueger with his hands in the tub. Anyway.
So for InnerSpace.
Yeah.
Rein it in. So for InnerSpace, obviously we gave you like a little bit of a brief synopsis by playing a bit of the trailer here, but Jack needs a vacation. He's a hypochondriac, right? Like stress makes him start like feeling
he's a whiny bitch is what
pretty
he is.
much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And it takes another man being inside him. It takes another man being inside him for him to find out who he really is.
Yeah.
And a kiss with Meg Ryan as well, which damn, like that scene after him and Meg Ryan sleep together, like him and Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan in the beginning of the film when they're coming out and he's like just in a towel and stuff. That motherfucker has looked the same in 1987 as he does in 2017. Like that motherfucker looks.
No, yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The face looks like a leather catcher's mitt, but like the body looks exactly the same.
Hey, good for him. He can keep in shape. It's cool. But Meg Ryan's had the same haircut for like 40 years.
In the 80s, they used to call it the Meg Ryan.
Are you serious?
I don't know.
I remember going in the 90s being like, I want to look like Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Give
and
me the
like,
Rachel.
No.
Give me the Rachel. Yeah, the Rachel.
They really have names for. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that haircut took like 8 hours to do, which is like crazy.
No.
Yeah.
What are they, with the sword or the fire? What are they doing?
I have no clue.
Did you ever see those
I just remember seeing a thing where she was talking about that haircut, and she came in to like do like the season that they did that haircut, and they had her sit down with like a hairstylist, and she was just like, and it took like 8 hours to cut my hair in that way. So. Like if you wanted the real Rachel, you're gonna have to sit for quite some time, like getting a tattoo.
My friend bleached the black out of my hair. I sat down for over an hour just trying to bleach the black out of my hair.
Didn't work.
I died. Like I was like, I need to get up. Like, can I get up? And she's like, God damn it, Kim. It's like, well,
how do you get a tattoo? You have several tattoos. How do you get a tattoo? Like if you can't do more than like an hour or two on a chair.
Oh, tattoos I can sit there for. Getting my hair done's a little different.
All right, fair enough. Kim likes pain.
Mm-hmm. I like it rough.
So, if your hairdresser pulled your hair, maybe you would have had a fun time.
No, my girl wouldn't do that for me. To me, actually. For me. Would she do that for me? I don't know.
Depends how much you tip her before you leave.
I don't need to tip her. Just tacos and beer. She'll be happy.
So, it's just crazy to think that Dennis Quaid and Randy Quaid came out of the same fucking vagina. Isn't like...
You know what? You just said that, and I'm like, oh, shit. You're right.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, the guy who played Cousin Eddie.
Yeah.
and the heartthrob that is Dennis Quaid in the 80s came from the same vagina. Yeah.
Oh, were they different dads? Like,
I don't
what
know.
happened?
I have no clue.
Something happened. She fucked the milkman. Something.
It's twins.
They're not twins!
No, but it's like the movie Twins.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger aren't twins either.
That's another movie. Weren't you guys trying to figure that out the other day on one of your other podcasts?
Jay was trying to figure it out. Yeah, Jay. No, that was Junior.
Junior.
On episode 100. Junior! What do you name it if it's a girl? I'm going to name it Junior!
Jeez.
But, I mean, being the first time that I've seen InnerSpace, I didn't know like a whole lot going into it. I just know a few people have told me it's like this classic 80s film, and it won an Academy Award for special effects, and it's produced by Steven Spielberg. Because fuck, what didn't that guy produce in the late 80s and early 90s?
He had his dick and everything.
Yeah, he produces everything pretty much. But it's directed by Joe Dante. So the second I saw that's after you said this, that's when it got me interested to go see it, because I I love Gremlins, and Joe Dante, the director of Gremlins, he's directed quite a few films. When I was looking through his list, that I like actually really enjoy, like The Howling and
The Howling.
And Small Soldiers.
Oh my God, Small Soldiers.
So like where you have like this love and affinity for like 80s films, I was knee high to a duck in like the 80s, so I don't remember a whole lot of 80 films except for like what you showed me.
Yeah, well, you're a little bitch, so it's cool.
When I get into like the 90s though, and like trash movies from the 90s, it's like a steel fucking trap up here. And Small Soldiers is one of those movies that like I just absolutely love because it's garbage. I mean, it's not good at all. It's got like the dad from Transformers in it and Tommy Lee Jones phoning in lines for a fucking plastic toy.
You know what the sad thing is? I don't remember a damn thing besides the tiny little toys in that movie.
It's basically Gremlins.
With tiny toys. Oh, okay, yeah.
With army toys. Yeah. That's all it is.
Do you have one swinger from a fan, the other one in the microwave? What's
pretty
going
much
on? Oh, okay.
In fact, I'm pretty sure one of them does die in a microwave in that movie. I'll go back and rewatch it.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty sure Joe Dante is just like, he got the script for whatever Small Soldiers are going to be, and he just went like, that seems too complicated. Let's just do Gremlins again. I know how to do that one.
Gremlins. My kids watch Gremlins. That's a Christmas movie to me.
That is my favorite Christmas movie. Yeah, that's
Die Hard's my favorite Christmas movie.
No, not everyone loves Die Hard.
I do.
I'm gonna buy you the sweater. Ho ho ho! Now I have a machine gun.
My cousins actually did like their Christmas card one year was it was like still pictures from Die Hard. Like the husband was sitting there with his wife beater taking broken glass, like the
out of his
ornaments.
foot.
Yeah, it was so funny. And then her youngest son, I think, was dressed up as Hans.
Gruber.
Yeah.
Or Bill. Bill Clay.
The American voice.
So after Joe Dante did Small Soldiers in 1998, he didn't do fucking anything. Like he apparently like just fell off the face of the earth, and he at one point was like, he was like one of Spielberg's guys. Like Spielberg has like these crop of directors that come up. They're kind of like proteges of his. Joe Johnston is one. J.J. Abrams. Like there's been several throughout the years. And Joe Dante was one of them. But like after Small Soldiers, I mean, really all he did was Looney Tunes back in action.
Oh Jesus!
With the Brendan Fraser.
I love Brendan Fraser.
Did you get mad when we made fun of him in episode 100?
Because I did. Like The Mummy. I was obsessed with The Mummy for such a long time.
Hey, the original Mummy is fucking fantastic.
Yeah. I love it.
It's the closest thing to Indiana Jones that anyone has done. But after that, the second one, and then that trash third one with Jet Li.
Scorpion King and all that fun stuff.
And then he directed The Hole, Splatter, which was a TV series. And then it's a whole bunch of TV series, like Legends of Tomorrow, which is a fucking trash WB show that my wife really loves.
Wait, WB's still around?
Yeah. I mean, it's called the CW now, but whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It's all the same shit.
No.
It's got all those DC shows on it that are all like, we're superheroes, but we got drama.
Oh, God.
But we all got problems.
Watching now, like Riverdale or something like that?
My wife loves Riverdale as well.
Isn't that like...
That's supposed to be Archie, right?
Yeah.
And every time it's on, I'm usually editing when it's on, so I'm not paying attention. Every time it's on, I was just like, where is like the fun? Like Riverdale is like that's like just classic Americana like fun, you know?
Yeah.
Archie goes to a burger eating contest and Jughead throws up or something. You know?
Yeah.
Trying to figure out who likes him more, Betty or Veronica. But this is like so melodramatic. Like it makes Dawson's Creek it makes Dawson's Creek look like fucking The Dark Knight compared to it. Like it looks like it's the greatest TV thing ever because Riverdale's so bad.
You know, it's a funny thing you said Dawson's Creek because I end up, stopping at Wendy's for you. Or for myself, and then picked you up something. But all I heard was, I don't want to wait for our lives to be over.
I want to know right now, what will it be?
I don't even know the whole song. Are you kidding me?
Hey, me and you used to watch The Creek all the time.
Did we? I don't remember.
So, like, there was a summer where I wasn't working, and Kim's had various jobs throughout the years. Mm-hmm. Were you working at the liquor stores at the time?
Yeah.
Okay, so, but if she was home during the day, I would usually come over around 10 a.m. and we would sit in her carport and watch the 2 episodes of Dawson's Creek that were on TBS.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You remember that whole summer we watched Band of Brothers?
We watched Band of Brothers. And I tried to get you to watch Lord of the Rings, and you fell asleep. Yep.
Every time.
But to this day, I don't know whether it's something that you infected me with, but when I try to watch Lord of the Rings,
You fall asleep?
I fall asleep.
It's called old age.
I tried watching it last weekend because we were talking about Lord of the Rings on a movie show that I was doing, and I was talking about how I don't like Lord of the Rings, but I do like the action in it and stuff like that. And everyone's like, when was the last time you saw them? And I was like, I don't know, 2003, like when they came out, like in that era. Everyone's like, you should rewatch them. So they're all streaming on Amazon Prime and on Hulu. So I was like, fuck it. Yeah, why not? I'm doing nothing else. It's safe enough for Logan to be in the room while I'm watching. There's no cursing, and orcs are only mildly scary. So I'm watching it, and towards the end of the Fellowship of the Ring, I fell asleep, and then I was like, 2 towers, and I put it on. I get to a point where it's it feels like it's still the beginning, but it's actually towards the middle, and I was like, wait, but the story hasn't started yet. What's going on? And there's fucking talking trees, and then they're talking about this battle that's coming, and then I woke up and the battle was over.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's I guess I just can't hang with the fucking rings no more.
You didn't even get to see the ending. That's sad. I'm so sorry.
And then my wife's like, you gonna watch the third one now? And I was like, no. No.
Forget that. Why would you want to do that to yourself?
No, I just don't want to.
Yeah.
But I have friends who can watch the extended editions of them, which are 3.5 hours a piece, and the final one is 4 hours. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Fuck you.
The longest movie I watched was Titanic. That's as far as I went.
That's 3 hours in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just can't do those long movies anymore. And if I look at the runtime and the runtime's 3.5 hours, I'm not going to the theaters to see that.
So basically, you're your dad now. You just nap.
But it's if it's something that really grabs me, I'll sit through it. But Batman v Superman, no, that's 3 hours of needless length.
I didn't watch it.
It was awful. It was terrible. You don't need to watch it.
Didn't want to do it.
But InnerSpace.
Yeah, right? We'll get back to that sooner or later. It's cool. I mean, I have a whole plethora of 80s movies we can talk about.
But no, I mean, I did really wind up enjoying InnerSpace, I think, for what it was. But you love Martin Short, and I found him to be the most insufferable part of the film.
He's so adorable. Actually, you know what the sad thing is? He reminds me of my son. My son's going to be a whiny bitch.
Well, maybe he can turn that into a career of facial dysmorphism.
No, I'm just praying to God he turns out like Dennis Quaid. I don't know. I mean, he's ripped for his age. I'm like, God damn, you eat so much. Where's it going?
It's being stored until the day he turns into Sam.
Yeah. He already is Sam. He's a mini Sam. I got a mini me. He has a mini him. We're good.
Longtime listeners of Super Movie Brothers remember Sam as producer Sam.
Yeah.
For one episode.
Yeah. Exactly. That
because I think he missed he couldn't come the next week, and he couldn't come the next week, and then he just stopped.
Oh yeah, shit happens. It's life.
People become adults and don't do shit no more. Yeah. But there was one thing that I found was really interesting. They're using a Polaroid camera in the very beginning when Dennis Quaid is walking into this spaceship that's going to get miniaturized and put inside of a rabbit.
Yeah.
And he grabs the Polaroid camera and he pulls a woman close and he does
a selfie.
He does a selfie.
Yeah.
And I was like, 1987.
1997 selfie. Wow.
Selfie right there on film. Joe Dante had his fucking pulse, had his finger on the pulse of 20 years later.
Didn't they bring out a new Polaroid camera or something?
They did. It's huge in Japan, but didn't really take off here. But they did.
Because nobody wants that shit.
They did, yeah. And it came with this little cartridge that you would put in it, and it would print out very, very small pictures, about 1 inch by 2 inches or something like that. They would print out. But weird things take off in Japan, panties in vending machines and stuff.
We need instant gratification. Are you kidding me? We can't wait for it to actually fully develop.
Right. Well, I mean, if you have a Polaroid camera, then how are you going to post it to all your friends right then that second on Facebook?
Well, true. We're slaves. We're slaves.
Not me. Jay runs our Facebook. I haven't touched Facebook since 2013.
I look at it every once in a while, but it's kind of pointless.
But so if you haven't checked out InnerSpace.
Forget it. Let's just make this about us because InnerSpace is never going to get its day of
It's never going to get its time in the spotlight.
It's never going to get its day in court.
The sun has set on InnerSpace. It was forgotten long ago.
Yeah, right.
No one wants to go back to it, but it's actually worth the watch. I would say, like, it's worth checking it out. And for anything else than just that shirtless scene with Dennis Quaid, why not?
No, but the fight scene in his stomach, I love that.
Oh, you do like that?
I do love that.
I thought that was
cheesy.
I thought that was pretty cheesy.
It's cheesy.
And the stairwell scene when he thinks that that Dennis Quaid's still inside of him and he beats the guy up.
Yep. I still cry at that one part.
Which part?
Where he's actually in Meg Ryan.
Oh, and he's looking at the baby.
Yeah. And I was like, oh.
So like I thought, like, what a twist. She's going to wind up with Martin Short and not fucking Dennis Quaid.
No.
And then because like they had that kiss and all that stuff, and I was like, and he's learned to be a real man, and like they're bonding and stuff. And let's face it, Jack is a fucking drunk.
He's a douche.
Yeah, not Jack. Tucker is a fucking drunk, and they picture that throughout the entire movie. And at no point does he have like a turn of character where he's like,
no.
I don't get this whole drinking thing up.
No.
Nope, not at all.
No.
But he goes inside Meg Ryan via the kiss that she has with Martin Short, and then he immediately, for no reason, just travels right to her womb and is just like, what are these giant eyes staring at me? That's a baby.
You pray to God you hope it was his, because it was 2 months later.
2 months later, yeah. I mean, I'm no prenatal specialist.
Oh, okay.
But so I don't know the development of a fetus, but it had fingers, it had eyes, so I would say that's like 2 months along. I mean, I don't know. Aren't they just like really like? Aren't they like just little like chickens, like tiny
little chickens?
Yeah, like, I don't know,
okay,
like
we'll go with that.
Like the size of like your thumb, and then they have like a beak and a tail, and they look fucking weird.
Look, I mean, I know I had kids, but I still don't know how it works down there.
I just remember seeing like in books when they're like, "This is what a fetus looks like," and I'm like, "Why has it got a fucking tail?"
That's a tadpole, motherfucker.
And as I said, they're like, all fetuses technically develop exactly the same up until a certain point in development.
Yeah.
So like the genetic makeup of them, it could be whatever you want it to be at some point.
Yeah.
So, and then eventually like they I don't know, humanize and lose that fucking tail. Some of them. Other people are born with a vestigial tail.
Was that Shallow Hal? What the hell was that movie where
Shallow Hal?
It was
yeah, where he's got a vestigial tail.
Yeah. I haven't seen that in so long. That's another movie. Nah. We're not even talking about this movie anymore.
No. You know what? It's not worth that much of a discussion, but it's fun. It's whatever. You know what? Just wait till it's on TV. Just catch it when it's on TV.
Oh, come on.
Don't seek it out. I had to rent it on Verizon, but I have enough points that it didn't cost me anything.
I told you could have watched it for free.
Oh, but see, we use Amazon on the TV out in the living room. That means I have to log out Lauren, log in you, and doing that all on like a remote when you're just like, that's just annoying. It was worth using the 200 points for my Verizon account to do it, which cost me nothing. This is like literally none of my time. We're putting in your information was going to take me time. I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to take time.
You're such a little bitch. Just stop.
Time is fucking precious to me. All right.
Oh yeah, sure it is. Like time isn't precious to me.
So if you, we're just gonna end here talking about InnerSpace. I hope you guys enjoyed my conversation with my sister Kim.
That was it. I'm done.
So if you go onto Patreon and you select a certain tier, you will be able to join us for a movie cocktail. You can make the cocktail or have us make the cocktail, but you get to pick the film, and you can join me or Jay or both of us on and discuss a film. Kim is lucky enough to be here to do it with me in person. However, you may not be so lucky. So make sure you head over to patreon.com, search Super Movie Bros, and find out what tier works for you so that you can be a part of this. Other Patreon episodes that we're going to have coming up, like how I'm sitting here talking with my sister Kim, I'm going to have other guests on. So it won't always be Jay. I'm going to try to get my dad to come on for one, because we talk about him all the time on the show.
Oh, man.
So I'm thinking about having everything packed up to go over there and do something with dear old dad. And then I'm also thinking about maybe even getting my daughter to sit down and do like a top 5 with me. It's going to be real tough to wrangle her in. I'm going to like duct tape the microphone to her and just let her run around like a maniac.
Get Lacey in here. She'll stay with Lacey.
Yeah, I might do that, or just have Lacey give me her top 5 animated films, because I want to talk about animated films, but I want to talk about animated films with a child. I want to know like what a kid thinks are like the best animated films.
My name is Kim.
Yeah,
I'm old, but I'm a child.
I know that, but like. But like as I get older, like I find myself liking different types of like animated films and stuff where it's like I like them for a different reason than like the kid might like them.
Yeah.
So I want to know like what kids like really like. So like I want to see if my animated favorites stand up to with the kids. You know, I want to see whether kids like like because I didn't think my daughter would like The Incredibles, but she loves The Incredibles, like absolutely loves it.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Because it's 2.5 hours long almost, and it's heavy, but like she just really likes I think it's just like the colors and she really thinks Jack and Dash are hilarious.
I love Jack.
Yeah.
I wanted a kid like that. Why didn't I get a kid like that? I did.
A kid with 17 different powers.
Yeah, right? I need one of those. Hey.
So if you have seen these films, you want to reach out to us, you want to discuss them, you can reach out to us on Twitter at SuperMoviePod. You can also reach out to Jay on Facebook. Make sure to, if you are a drinker and you want to give Blowfish a try, get over to www.4hangovers.com and you use the promo code SMBFish. And I hope that if you really enjoy the show and you want to leave us a review, like some of the reviews we read at the top of the show, then head over to iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and write us a review. Even if you don't give us 5 stars, just let us know what's going on. Let us know what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show. It helps us grow, helps us get found. So I want to thank everybody for listening tonight. Have a great night. Cheers.